Welcome to Rooted Cosmic Soul. We're going to do another collective insight session. I've had a really beautiful day. It kind of started out with this sort of, I call my Eclipse season mantra, like gratitude for waking up and, you got this, Deidre. One foot in front of the other. Let's get it rocking. And I just decided to be really intuitive about everything that I did today, and it just was a really beautiful day. And I'd been thinking about doing another collective readings. I did one maybe a week ago or so, and I've been thinking about it in terms of liminal space. And then I was listening to one of my favorite evolutionary astrologer witches, and her video was just really amazing, and she too was talking about liminal space, so I kind of took that as confirmation. And when I thought about it, I got really excited, and I was like, okay, that's like double confirmation. And I went and sat for a little bit and settled my energy and asked liminal spirits, which decks they wanted to use, and got through that. And now, as I set up, I'm doing this on the night of the full moon. The full moon is directly outside my window. She is right at my back. She's moving fast. She was a little bit to my right when I first sat down, and now she's kind of like at the center of my back. So feels like a really good time to play. Let's play and see what story the liminal spirits want to offer us. And so we're going to start with, since it is the full moon, this is a Virgo full moon, I'm going to start with using the Moon Oracle deck. The Moon Oracle. So as usual, I've already cleansed and shuffled these, but I want you to see it as I'm doing this and infuse your energy into it as you're watching this, because time is a lie and liminal space is real. So we're going to ground us in this card here. And then we're gonna ask for, I kept getting the message we're gonna do 3 liminal spirits cards. This is a liminal realm oracle deck. Liminal realm oracle deck. So I'm gonna pull 3 from these and see what liminal spirits show up. Wanna hang out with us and tell us a story? Ocean has arrived. Belladonna has arrived. And Metal. Interesting. Huh. Okay. And then we're gonna ask for some insight into these 3 liminal spirits to add to the story. Spending some time with this deck today, and explain to me that it wants me to shuffle it differently. There it is. I'm only going to do it one more time. If you've been spending time with me, you know that this deck, it does not like being shuffled a lot at once. It's like, you've cleansed me, you cleared me, leave me alone. So, let's see. Clarifications for Ocean, clarification for Belladonna, and clarification for Metal. I think I'm getting a message for more, but I think I'll leave it and let's, because we've got a lot of decks to get through, so I'm gonna leave that for now. Now, since we're in Pisces season, and dreams are also a liminal space, I thought we'd pull a card from the Shaman Dream Oracle to see what else part of the story wants to be brought in. And part of my beautiful day today was a fair amount of time outside. It was just a beautiful day here where I am. Quite a bit of wind. Really clearing out stuff. Rustling it up and clearing it out. And so I thought nature I had the sense that nature wanted to be a part of this story. So this is a divine nature. And then, per usual, we're going to pull a divine feminine oracle card to kind of see what divine feminine energy is holding us, offering us some insight into the story that is about to be shared here. Okay. So this story opens up with the energy of a crescent waxing earth moon. And that's the energy of preparation. Preparing for what is to come next. It's investing in the time necessary to hold something that's about to be birthed. It's about to, it's the seed that's about to sprout, that's about to shoot through the ground, but you're not shooting through the ground quite yet. You're investing in the time of the prep to birth. And it's interesting because talk about a liminal space, right? So the story starts in this, in the womb, about to come out of the womb, which is also this eclipse energy that we're in, in the light, in the dark, back in the light. And so wherever you are right now, this story might be offering you sort of grounding in, hold to the time and space that we're in right now. Let the eclipse energy work its magic. The liminal space that this story is talking to us, is telling us, is the ocean. And the ocean, it's the space between, the shore and the waves, the waves curling and coming in, and then they're gone, right? And they recede back into the ocean. It is a constant space of death and birth, of change. And so in that liminal space, you might be feeling, you might be feeling that push of the waves of even being, feeling battered, feeling battered by wave after wave after wave coming as you are in this holding space, this preparation space for whatever is to come next. And so the story moves into the heart space, which is the space of the divine feminine, in which she's offering messages about exploring, understanding, and stepping into your feelings, your emotions, your intuition, flow, and all heart-based action. And so you may be feeling really battered if that's kind of, where you're at in this particular moment in time on our earth, in which we are in the toxic mind space right now. So the offering coming from the ocean is to foster rest, to remember that doing nothing is doing something, and that, in this eclipse moment, it is about being patient. You're investing in greater alignment with whatever is to come. Now, for some folks, the story takes this path of really deeply experiencing the poisonous nature of, let me move this down because I'm moving to the Belladonna, the poisonous nature of the current very toxic power over patriarchal energy of the construct that we're in right now. And the idea of the story with Belladonna is that Belladonna became poisonous because she was surrounded by toxic plants for so long. And you could take that as toxic people. I think particularly in this moment, I would say this story is about, you really want to protect what that seed that you're investing in this moment of your awakening, of who you are becoming. This story really needs you to foster that with rest and remember that doing nothing is something. But sometimes we actually do need to move in the presence of others. We need to be in community with other folks, likely, a job, family, community folks that maybe are not as aligned with this idea of fostering rest and the idea of going with, the tides coming in and going out. And so the offering from Belladonna is a love offering, and it's coming from a message of exploring, understanding, and stepping into a state of oneness, the embodiment and presence of divine love. And it's seated in the earth, which is really beautiful because, she's coming out of this energy of the ocean, which is part of the earth. And the offering is to stabilize and ground in your self-care rituals, in particular around root chakra. So I would definitely say breath work, like really being aware of the breath. So the story is like really asking us, be aware of the breath and how you are feeling in your body, and stabilize and ground in that, and know that you can always take care of yourself through recognizing, how am I breathing? How much oxygen am I bringing in to oxygenate my blood? Which is interesting because the next liminal space is metal. I'm going to come back to that because there's a connection with this, but the next liminal space is metal, and that, one could say that metal is the earth's blood, and that, when in our current construct, when we extract metals, oftentimes, we will heat it up with fire to make it into a liquid state, which is what I mean by the fire. by being Earth's blood. And so in that, the story is showing that we may be experiencing in this eclipse energy space, the story is like, oh, I'm being burned. It's like I am feeling the fire of the toxicity that is this current state, and I'm just being battered by the waves over and over. And so the offering again is another love card. It's really to come back to a remembering that the oneness of who you are with divinity, and the love that you can find there. And so the message is to regard your self-regard, like to really regard that you are whole, you are one. It's coming under 7, so it is, I really think it's about awareness and knowledge. It's interesting that the 3 cards that are coming out to help us understand the message from the liminal space are really deep in this idea of the inner world, not of the mind, but of the body and the heart, like the energy, the essence of who you are. And the story is asking you to regard that, to stabilize and ground in your self-care rituals, particularly those that are going to help you understand you are safe, you are secure, you are stable. And to remember, we're in a construct right now that really wants to always keep us busy. The busier you are, the less likely you are to be still enough to receive messages from the liminal. Or you're probably receiving them, but are we hearing them, right? When we're making ourselves busy. Now that's not to say some of us have really busy lives. Yes. And I really want you to be honest with yourself. Do you hold moments where you're making yourself busy? You're being a busybody because that's what you've had to be. And so the moments that come across your experience in which you could actually slow down, you're not noticing, or you're not taking advantage of it. And that's what the ocean is like. Look, the tide is going to come and go. Like, we've been here. The waves are going to come in. The waves are going to go out. Rest. Foster the rest. Doing nothing is something. Stabilize and ground in your self-care rituals. This is how you're going to regard your self-regard. Because you are investing in something. What I was going to mention was like, which is really interesting, is like this love card. It's really beautiful. Like, it really matches the colors of this, of like Belladonna is really offering this understanding that you can definitely experience the chaos and confusion of this moment as a negative thing. You can also experience the moment as a way to practice stabilizing and grounding in your self-care rituals as a response to the toxicity of this moment. Because in there lies this really beautiful and immense strength and determination that is yours, that the earth needs as much as you do. The more that you can dig into seeing the larger picture, the more we can, the more you're going to be able to offer earth, because earth really needs us to see the larger picture of what's happening right now. And I was going to say, it kind of like, so this card, this pink, I really love how it's like drawing in the love aspect of Belladonna. And then, it's an earth card. And we move into the grounding is the earth moon, the waxing earth moon, that moment of, it's more womb than birth, but it's gonna pop up in birth. which I'm going to jump down to this card here, which brings us to this idea of like, if we can stabilize and ground in our self-care rituals, regardless of the toxicity that's coming at us, so that we can be in this moment of patience and preparation for what is to come. Part of the offering is this idea of reclaimed innocence, that a lot of us are taught that we are born with original sin, this idea of that you have to spend your lifetime attempting to make up for that sin. Well, there are other ideas and religious stories, myths, belief systems that believe in original innocence, and that we are born worthy, perfect, and whole, exactly as we are and exactly as we are not. And in this story is asking us to hold into that, to hold on to this moment of eclipse energy that's going to help us reclaim that innocence, and in the face of stabilizing and grounding and self-care rituals in a toxic environment that wants you to do the exact opposite, that's what allows us to reclaim that innocence, reclaim the beautiful. It's like she's on this beautiful, I want to hold this up for you to see. She's on this beautiful bird. It's like a earthy phoenix, right? She's rising up, not out of the fire, but up out of the earth to reclaim her innocence, to reclaim the understanding, the remembering, the regard that you were worthy, perfect, and whole, exactly as you are and exactly as you are not. The story also includes, which I do find it interesting, that it's right beneath metal, and like, you know, the feeling I get is like, you know, it's sort of like this harshness, this fire energy, which I think fire can be very nourishing. In terms of what I'm getting from this card here, it's very much about this moment we're in is really burning up a lot of energy that we would otherwise be using as a remembering and regarding who we are. And as we regard, as we step into, I had a little bit of a camera issue, so we're gonna jump right back into the story. Something really beautiful about the story in terms of, you know, investing in that time to reclaim our innocence. Part of what is going to come out of fostering rest, regard, your self-regard, is right use of power. And I say that because it goes 6, 7, 8. And this is about, if you know, it's really interesting. It's interesting to me that there's sort of like the coloring that's in the Belladonna card, and this back here, it's almost like that is the back of the card. Like, you can't, let me see if I can pull it up here. You can't really see it in this lighting, but this here, sort of that curtain, the emperor has no clothes, that curtain behind there is very similar to this coloring. And so the story is like, you will have already experienced the toxicity of a power over model, and through stabilizing and grounding in your self-care rituals and really getting an understanding of the power of your own root chakra to remain authentic and present to your truest self, and preparing for that to reclaim your innocence, will really foster the ability for right use of power. When whatever shoots up, this new way of being, or this new you, this next chapter of the story arrives, you're going to be in the game in a different way, in this life, in this new chapter of whatever is being born in this paradigm shift that we're all part of, you are going to be in it. And trust that as you move through this process, you will be able to hold on the right use of the power that you are going to find from reclaiming your innocence, meaning that imminent power, that power within that the constructs of white supremacy, patriarchy, capitalism do not under any circumstances want the story to hold. It does not. It wants to oppress, suppress, and control the story of just total toxicity, of just the waves hitting you over and over again, that you're just under fire, or that your blood is boiling, right? That you don't get to a point where you're understanding power can also be power with others, in connection to others, to earth, power within. It is within yourself. And you find it through fostering that rest, stabilizing and grounding in your self-care rituals, and regarding your self-regard, regardless of what the construct story is. This is your story. Or it's an offering. It can be your story. I also really love that the divine feminine energy that's sitting with us is Sara La Kali. And I'm actually going to read the card for her because I know a lot of folks don't know who Sara La Kali is. And the author of this oracle deck does a really beautiful job of giving backgrounds. But before I get there, again, it's really interesting that it's like, if you look at her jacket, it's again really similar to the coloring that's in the metal card. Remember I said I really get this feeling that when we think of metal, it's like the blood of the earth. And there's so much energy here around this idea of coming back to ourselves, which is coming back to earth. We are of earth, earth is of us. And that, I mean, even in here too, there's some green in here, which it's like is pulling into the heart, fostering rest, and pulling into this idea of preparation and rest from the crescent waxing earth moon, and the reclaiming of innocence, of coming back to an understanding that we are worthy, perfect, and whole, exactly as we are and exactly as we are not. And I'm going to read the Sara La Kali. So that we learn about this beautiful divine feminine energy. Sara La Kali, Queen of the Outsiders. I have arrived. I am where I will always be, in love. Sara La Kali is the symbol of the love that endures, the love that never dies. There are three main legends that surround Saint Sara. First, she's known as a charitable noblewoman who collected alms for the poor in Saint Marie de la Mer in the south of France at the beginning of the 1st century. She had a vision that the female saints who were present at Jesus' death would arrive on their shores. And when they did, around year 42, Saint Sara was the first to lovingly welcome them with open arms. The golden legend from the 13th century says that Saint Sara arrived with the three Marys, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, and Mary Bethany, as one of their slaves. She was said to be an Egyptian, very beautiful and endowed with healing powers. The third legend is that Saint Sara is the daughter of Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ. During the persecution of the early Christians, it is believed that Mary Magdalene fled with young Sara, Jesus' mother, and Mary of Bethany to the south of France. There she raised Sara and continued her ministry of love, of becoming what Christ referred to as true human beings, reclaiming innocence. Ashe, beautiful. There she raised Sara and continued her ministry of love, of becoming what Christ referred to as true human beings, meaning both fully human and fully divine. What a beautiful story. As we started out with, you're preparing. The story is, it's preparing. You're in preparation. You're investing your time and energy of this moment, of this eclipse retro energy, to birth something new, to let die what needs to die so that something new can birth. And that's the reclaiming of your innocence, your true self. True self. Saint Sarah is known as the Queen of the Outsiders. She is the beloved patron saint of the Romani people. She is carried from her crypt to the cathedral to the sea on horseback every May 24th by thousands of Romani who gather annually to celebrate her. There's an ancient chest in St. Sarah's Cathedral that contains the relics of the three Marys. St. Sarah represents the spiritual tenets of the Khmer cross, faith and hope, but above all, love. No matter who you are or where you are, St. Sarah's love is the kind that reaches you. There's nothing you need to perfect or prove. There's nothing you need to wait to become. There's only the deep, abiding truth that love is not outside of you. You are never an outsider to love. You are love. Saint Sarah is the ultimate love card, the one that whispers what you've always known, that love is our true purpose and our only true home. Love is where we will all arrive, no matter how persecuted, how lonely, how outcast we might feel, no matter how long it has been since we felt loved. Saint Sarah is the healing that comes when we embody love again. She is here to welcome us back to the singular destination we actually never left. Home is only ever as far as we allow ourselves to be separate from the space of our own heart. And I love that, like, you know, when I pulled that card, it was about what energy can we lean into as we take this story, right? As we hear the story, as we resonate with this story, resist this story, feel activated by the story. And it's like, you know, this story is talking about a moment someone is experiencing a great transformation, a transmutation of self, you know, starting with that preparation and the battering of the waves over and over and being surrounded by toxicity and then the transformative nature of metal, this idea of being able to become something else, to be taken out of the earth and to become liquid or to become something else, right? It's like we're going through this process, and the reminder is, no matter where you are in the process is not about you getting to a point of being loved. You are loved regardless. The process is likely, I think the story is more about you simply remembering and regarding that you are loved. And it's also interesting that it's not necessarily part of this story, but I did pull a card and ask for an archangel energy to kind of sit with me as I pulled these oracles and drew on these oracles to tell the story. And the card that came up was Archangel Raphael, the healer, right? And Raphael brings physical, emotional, and spiritual healing to those in need. So it's definitely sort of like the divine masculine, divine feminine energy of love and healing is present here for you to remember. Yeah, take the time you need, foster the rest, stabilize and ground, regard yourself. Because you are about to be birthed anew. You're about to reclaim your innocence and step back into the game in a different way. And as you're doing this, you are loved, right? You have already arrived. You are already where you need to be. And that is in love, and it's a remembering. Wow, it's a really beautiful message. And I hope that whoever needs to hear it, it has been heard. and know that, you know, this is a collective message. All of us are in this moment of eclipse energy and planetary movements that haven't happened for hundreds of years, and shifts in galactic energy that hasn't happened for, you know, 20,000 plus years. We're all in this together, and we're all having our individual experiences collectively. And I say that again to remind you, you are not alone. I am not alone. You are not alone. We are not alone. We are loved already. Okay. Thanks for spending time with me on this beautiful Virgo full moon. Oh, and as I say that out loud, I will also say that the story is imperfect, right? It's really interesting. Yep. I said, like, I had a camera malfunction, and, you know, old Deidre popped up for a moment. I just was like, ugh, maybe I'm not supposed to do this reading, and I can't do it over. And I was about to give up because it couldn't be perfect. And then I looked at the screen and it said, oh, you know, you've got some recovered files. So there are files that I can recover, that I can, you know, put the reading back together. It's not perfect, but so what? And that was actually my thought I was doing. I was like, but it's enough. It's enough. What I have is enough. And I was moved by liminal energy and the moon to do this reading. And I think it would just be a disregard for me to throw it out because there was a little bit of a glitch. So I would also say part of the story is just remembering, what does it mean to continue moving forward, even with the battering of the waves makes it seem like it's not a perfect path, or we're around some toxicity that, you know, makes it feel imperfect as well, or we're not, you know, we're not exactly liquid, we're not exactly, you know, a material form or hard material form. Yeah, that's because perfection is the lie and imperfection is the reality. And in that reality, we are loved. So thank you, Virgo full moon, for that. Thank you, liminal energies and spirits, for that. Thank you for those who are here. I thank our elevated ancestors, our spirit guides in the light, our guardian angels and archangels, our higher selves, for giving us this story. My energy stays with me. Your energy stays with you. Unfettered and infinite love and gratitude.